What if my content isn't working? What if it's not consistently converting leads? I'm going to walk you through how to fix it fast. And so, for some context here, I have done hundreds, over 530 content audits for people, going through their full page, their Facebooks, their Instagrams, their emails, all of this stuff. Personally, myself, to give you some context here, is I've been posting content and running my businesses between my brick and mortar gym, my online fitness business, my online now marketing and business consulting company for now about 13 years. And so this what I'm giving you here is thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of content and data that I have seen, and I'm just going to like hand it over to you to help you shortcut and save time when it comes to you creating content that generates more inbound leads, that books more calls, that creates more sales for your business. First thing to understand is that information is a commodity. There's over 615 million posts being published every single minute on the internet right now, which is freaking insane. And how most people are consuming their content, this is a statistic I just read, is that people are opening up, swiping, clicking in some fashion, opening up their phone 150 freaking times a day. What? And they're spending hours, 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours on social media. And what's fascinating is they're doing this in small chunks. And so you've got to first understand the behavior and the psychology behind why people, or how people are consuming your marketing or consuming your content. A lot of times they're on their phones, in these short bursts, and they're like in the pickup line at their kid's school, or they're at Starbucks, holding seven things, or they're lying in bed late at night. You know, or here's a really good one. They're pooping on the toilet. Did you know that? Did you know that like freaking like a large percentage of people are scrolling social media while they're pooping? So people are literally watching your videos, reading your posts while they're taking the Browns to the Super Bowl. Disgusting. But that's the truth. And so if you are out there right now and you're in one of these three categories, you're posting content consistently, but you're not getting consistent leads. Maybe you're getting tons of likes here and there, you're getting engagement. You're what's called in the friend zone of content. Or maybe you are, and I don't mean to flick you off. This is like, sorry, I meant to do this. If you're posting content consistently and you're getting engagement and you're getting some leads here and there, but they're not super consistent. They're very sporadic. You're in what's called the expert zone of content. Now, where we want to be, this is where all of us strive to be, is if you're posting content and you're getting, you know, engagement from the right people, you're getting tons of lead flow, and you're getting clients very predictably and consistently, you're in what's called the thought leader zone of content. The number one thing that I have personally have seen that makes or breaks if somebody's content works, if their ads work, if their landing pages convert, if their emails are getting opens and getting click throughs, comes down to this: their messaging. Basically, in a nutshell, if you're doing it the wrong way, and by the wrong way, you're just not getting the amount of leads, calls, and clients that you want, is you are saying the wrong words in the wrong way to either the right people or the wrong people. And if it's unclear, the words that you're saying, or they're not the words that people want to hear from you, you're going to struggle. But when you say the right words in the right way to the right people, you're going to start getting more engagement from the right people. You're going to start getting more of the right people in. An example of this that I've shared many times on this channel in longer trainings that I've done is, and I've had this with many clients. Like I just had this with a client, Rachel, who generated 197 leads from her Facebook profile of 2,000. It's actually, I gave her a bigger number in the last video I shared. It was 2,871 friends in 97 inbound leads. She's booked calls. She sold like, I think 11 or 12 spots for her recent challenge. And she's going to be making sales from this for a very long time. And she doesn't have a large audience, but she had the right messaging, right? Her content and the copywriting on it was hitting the mark, right? And I'm going to be doing a longer masterclass in I think it's next week, and I'll share it here free on this channel that kind of dives into this a little bit deeper, and so you can see the examples. I'm going to be walking through Rachel's and a couple other of my clients' content, so you can kind of see real time what it looks like. But there's another example that I shared where I was consulting this guy. He had hundreds of thousands of followers on his Facebook. And then there's another example, same thing with Instagram. And then I shared a client on Insta. It was primarily on Instagram, and I shared a client on Facebook. My client on on Facebook was Trianka. And Trianka's both on Facebook and Instagram. She had, I think, maybe 6,000 followers, which don't mean too much on Facebook. And she had like, maybe 4,000 friends or so. And she was doing $30,000 consistently in her business every single month, cash, right? Maybe even more now. And the reason she was able to, and the big influencers, they were doing less than $10,000 a month. I know because they hired me to help them fix that, to consult them on that. And the reason why Trianka was able to do that and why Rachel's able to do that with people that smaller audiences are, it comes down to the messaging. It's like in the movie Rush Hour. You remember that movie with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan? Chris Tucker goes to Jackie Chan, "Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?" No, they probably don't. Okay? It's like going to China, right? And like if I speak English, I'm trying to order Chinese food, but I'm trying to order it in English, and they're looking at me like, "I don't understand." It's gonna be hard to order. It's gonna be frustrating. But if I could speak Chinese, magically I can order Chinese food. So say the right words in the right way to the right people. And so, in a nutshell, and when I'm working with clients, I go super deep into this with them. And there's so much more, but in full transparency, like we go deep with this. Like, but this is why like when people come to me, like they can get really great results, and a lot of times they can get more leads from their current audience. They can get more calls booked, more sales than they ever have before. In part, I'm sharing with you the quote unquote secrets here because we go deep. We cover what's called magic messaging. I have a whole nother process that I call the deeper insights. It's like the deep motivations with people. And the more, and like I was talking to one of my recent clients, shout out to you, Paul, if you're watching. We were like, we were talking about the old like Abraham Lincoln quote. I think it was. I may be belaboring this or paraphrasing or using the wrong human, but I think it was Abraham Lincoln said if he had an hour to cut down a tree, he would spend 50 minutes sharpening his saw, sharpening his axe, right? And that's what really putting the time into messaging positioning is. Most people have okay messaging and positioning, but if they're not getting the amount of leads they want, it's because they don't have, maybe they've evolved their past messaging, or maybe their messaging is missing the mark, or in a lot of cases, they don't have a big idea or a unique solution or mechanism that's really hitting the mark. Okay. You want to first identify who your character is. Who's your dream client? What are they dealing with? Right? It's more than weight loss, it's more than getting leads, it's more than whatever. Like think about the character, right? As if you were going into the narrative in their story. What's that? What are the things that like are what are the symptoms, external and internal, that they're experiencing in their life? What are the specific pains? What are they complaining about to their coworkers or their friends or their spouse? What are they complaining about, right? What are those internal and external struggles? Like the more specific and clear and concrete you can get, the more powerful your content can become, because it's going to be able to literally, when you include that in your hooks, when you use stories that use that language, it's going to literally get people to stop the scroll. And then, yeah, like I said, what's their struggle? Where are they stuck? Where are they frustrated? What's stopping them from to get results? Like the more specific, tangible, and concrete, the better. And the villain and turning point. I'm a really big Marvel and kind of movie buff. I love storytelling. It's one of my all-time favorite passions. And in any great story, in any great movie, in any great show, so what I was looking for, there's an antagonist and a protagonist. And a lot of times, if you're like you're not eating, you're eating too low of calories, or if I'm just like your content sucks, right? It's like you're like, bro, come on, man. But instead, if you can be like, hey, no, it's like you're in the restricted diet trap. You're not, now it puts a villain, it puts a face and name to the mistakes they're making. Or if I'm like, dude, if you're posting content not getting results, it's because information is a commodity. And so you're not trying to like make up some bullshit, you're just like giving people the truth, right? But you want to put a villain on it. Like I call it the content commodity trap. I blame information as the commodity. And so you want to like really, say what's screwing them over, and I don't want to put a human onto it, but I'm more of an idea or concept, right? And what's the aha moment? Like I want you to think, what's that belief, what's that perspective that you hold that you know to be true? Like I just shared mine around messaging, right? Back in my weight loss business, I would talk about how eating healthy versus eating right. You can eat 500 calories and you can eat apples and salads for lunch every day. Doesn't mean you're going to get results. But when you learn to eat right now, it shifts people's perspective. What is that belief? What is that aha moment that you need them to have in order for them to buy? And here's the truth. There's 4 beliefs that if you make in your marketing will create more sales for you. The first is you just got to sell them on a new belief or perspective. When you could do that effectively, you're going to find way more people will want to buy from you. Secondly, you got to sell them on an aspirational identity, which we haven't got to yet. Aspirational identity. When you can include that stuff in your content, it's going to help massively. You want to sell people on a unique solution, and we'll walk through that. And then you want to sell people on social proof. So the unique solution is you're not the hero, right? Donald Miller talks about this in his book Story Brand. He talks about you're the guide, and I love that concept. You're the mentor, you're the guide, right? Your unique solution is the way. It's like in I think from Story Brand, I think is where I read this, to where he talks about how Luke Skywalker versus Yoda, like Yoda gave him the unique solution of using his like the mind power or whatever. Maybe I'm butchering it. You get what I'm saying? And he was able to use that to become the hero. And so your unique solution is your unique way of doing things. So for me, in my business now, I call it the in-demand model, and I show people how to come up with their magic message. I call it. We help build a strategic content ecosystem. I help people set up their conversion systems. I help people buy back time. I have these unique methods and mechanisms around this model. In my fitness business, it was called the Stubborn Fat Solution, and I had my it was called Flex Fuel Nutrition, Metabolic Intensity Training, and Inner Sizes, right? And so the naming of these is important, but it's not that important. What's important is the idea, the big idea. And so if you have a unique solution or unique mechanism and it's not working, it's probably because you're not communicating the true essence of the idea behind it. Does that make sense? Sorry. I think I said the word idea so many times. I can get passionate into what I'm talking about, but hopefully you pick up the gist, right? How you communicate the big idea through stories, through metaphors and analogies, that matters. And then the journey. What does success look like? Spell it out for them. Short term, midterm, long term transformations. They need to see where they're headed. If you're just like, I'll help you lose 30 pounds, people might be like, dude, I've been trying for that for years. Right? Or if I'm like, hey, I'll help you build a 6 or even 7-figure coaching business, right? Like, that's awesome, right? I'll help you get 100 clients. Fantastic. But most people are like, that's so far away. I don't know. But if you can, like, hey, in the first, during the first phase, we're going to lose 10 pounds, right? You're going to start feeling better, more confident. Then we're going to lose, an extra 20. And then you're going to be blah, blah, blah. Then you're going to have the body you dreamed of. Like, first, I'm going to get your messaging dialed in. You're gonna start getting more inbound leads. Then we're going to get your content system in place so we can create some predictability around inbound leads and calls booked. Then we're going to set up your conversion system to make sure you're predictably converting. And then from there, we're going to help buy back about 5 to 10 hours a week. And at the end of the day, you're going to now have a 6-figure business when you implement all these things. Now people can see how it works chronologically, and it makes more sense as a story would. So you want to do that for you. And then you want to have proof that they can't ignore. And the biggest thing around social proof is tell stories. Don't just give bland social proof. Like, bring the emotion in, bring stories, make it multi-sensory for people. And that's what's going to be super impactful. And then there's like messaging elements, right? You want to be able to like learn how to communicate this in a very, very short, punchy, and impactful way. And so if your content isn't converting and you're pulling your hair out, you're beating your head against the wall, maybe you're having inconsistency with it, then that it all comes down to this. It all comes down to you being able to show up, being able to speak to the subconscious narrative that's going on in people's heads. That's what's going to help you stop the scroll. You want to have some unique perspectives, right? You want to shift people into new beliefs, into new perspectives. You want to have a unique angle or a big idea or a mechanism. And again, the names don't mean crap if you don't know, if the idea isn't resonating, if you don't know how to communicate the idea to your audience to where it's like, oh, and it inspires them, it gives them hope, right? And then you want to be able to show some really good social proof and lead people to that aspirational identity. At that point, your messaging comes down and it becomes the bridge between where they are and then where they want to be. So I hope this helps. This is, for me and for many, many of the clients that I've served over the years, has been one of the game changers, that when they can truly dial in their messaging and their positioning and how they're communicating it out to their audience, their content just produces more leads, calls, and clients. If they run ads, the ads work better, their landing pages convert better, their emails get more opens and more conversions. Everything just works better. Your webinars, your workshops, everything comes down to this. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you found this helpful, click subscribe and leave your biggest takeaway down below and or a question. As always, remember your message matters now more than it ever has before. Don't be afraid to speak it. Be seen, be heard, and be impactful.